Howdy, leader. This one's for you, purposefully so. And I know I wave my hands in the air a lot and talk about general principles and underlying foundations, all this sort of stuff, but I think leadership comes from those general principles, from those frameworks. And as your experience grows and you assume not in this business definition of leadership, but in a real definition of leadership, you can begin to fill in the blanks yourself with your own personality and build your team in your shadow, as you should. But ultimately, I think in all of our presentations and all of our work, and hopefully you've noticed a couple of themes in all of these videos here, if you've watched enough of them, and for that I apologize. Basically me answering two questions. And I think ultimately that's all we're doing as leaders. And the two questions are both two words. Why Unicity? And number two, what now? Why Unicity? It's obvious. We're presenting our credentials. For me, it's always product-led and product-driven and followed up by the business stuff. I think most people can connect the dots relative to great products equals a great business. I don't need to oversell that too much. But we're presenting that in an absolute sense, why Unicity per se, but we're also presenting that in a relative sense. Why Unicity compared to all the other options in the industry and in the marketplace and in a messy and busy life for people. Answering that question clearly and succinctly in what you do and how you do it, I think has great value. All of the invite and informs are all about why Unicity. Why should you take this product? Why should you join with us? Why should you engage in this business model per se? Answering that question, I think, is critical. I think it's the biggest unasked question of every prospect we come across. Second question, particularly when people are at a decision point, looking to make a decision to join us or have made that decision or have reached a crossroads in terms of, here's the question, what now? Okay, you've convinced me in a simple form. You've convinced me of why Unicity, I'm in. Usually it's framed as what do I do next? This one I speak to. I always, when that's asked, I always reframe it with, well, with all due respect, next never comes. Next always assumes something else has to happen first before I can do what needs to get done. Why don't we reframe that with, well, what now? And for a brand new person, what now is let's schedule our getting started strategy session. Let me give you some homework for now. Start building your list of who knows me or who knows you. Here's the form to fill in for that. Start giving thought to your why and your intrinsic source of inspiration by setting your goals. Do that over the next day and a half, and let's meet tomorrow afternoon at 4 o'clock and go through that in the getting started strategy session. That's what's now. Or an existing person in your business, a director, for example, got to an inflection point in terms of their organization's growth and their leadership requirements. Well, what now? Be ready for that. Answer that question. Train them, develop them. See that coming along the pike. You're intimately involved, hopefully you're helping them get there. And so you know what now is because you've already seen it coming, and so you're prepped with that lesson for right now, or ideally for a moment before now. So it's there before it's needed. So all the things you do as a leader, as you interact with your people, as you engage in your own business, think of as two questions you're answering. Why Unicity? All of the presentation tools, all of the why people should join us. Answer that question. You know the questions that surround that, so answer them. Answer them well. And then that precedes and immediately leads into the, well, what now? And there's a series of what nows. When one of your downline members becomes diamond or well on the way to becoming diamond, well, what now? Well, how are you going to answer that? Someone's on the way to director or just started or whatever the case may be, or they've had a whole series of no's. Well, what now? Be ready for that material. Be ready for that answer. So I found that to be very helpful at a macro level framework or umbrella of how to operate. I'm in a why Unicity mode or a what now mode. Trying to anticipate, particularly in the what now mode, what's going to be needed. So by the time the now comes, I've already begun that process. And rather than being a series of things, it's a smooth continuum. So what now is ongoing. I find that helpful. Hopefully you do too. I find it helpful as I frame these videos and all my interactions with you and with others. Is this a why Unicity moment or is this a what now moment? And then I can more easily segue my brain, answer the question, be honed in on what's doing, and categorize the activities I'm engaged in, and I would suggest the language I'm using as to answering one of those two questions. Thank you.